In a bustling city filled with dreams and ambitions, not everything that glitters is gold. Sometimes the things we envy the most can bring us the greatest pain. This is the story of two sisters, Lauretta and Mirabel, born into a modest family. Their lives took a dramatic turn when Israel, the wealthy only son of a billionaire, entered their lives. He came for Mirabel's hand in marriage, but his arrival stirred a storm of jealousy, betrayal, and regret that would change their lives forever. Lauretta, the eldest, was a woman who believed the world owed her everything. She was quick to anger, envious of others' successes, and always felt that good things should come to her first. Mirabel, the younger sister, was patient and thoughtful, always putting her family first. She had a quiet strength that made her resilient in the face of adversity. Israel's arrival was supposed to be a moment of celebration, but it quickly turned into a source of tension. Lauretta, who had always mocked Mirabel's online relationship, was now consumed with envy. She couldn't understand why Mirabel, the younger sister, was the one chosen by such a wealthy and powerful man. Lauretta's envy grew as she watched Israel shower Mirabel with attention and gifts. But Israel was not the perfect man he seemed to be. He had a dark side, one that Mirabel had begun to notice. He would insult her, belittle her parents, and even physically harm her, only to apologize later with expensive gifts. Mirabel, troubled by Israel's behavior, decided to slow down the marriage process. She told her family that she needed time to think, but her mother was adamant. "Don't let this opportunity pass us by," her mother pleaded. "Our life is about to change." Lauretta, seizing the moment, called Mirabel aside and said, "Do you think marrying now is good? Besides, you have to wait for me to get married first." Her words were laced with jealousy, but Mirabel knew that her sister's envy was clouding her judgment. As the days passed, Lauretta's envy turned into obsession. She began to pursue Israel, flirting with him and trying to win his affection. Israel, frustrated by Mirabel's hesitation, found Lauretta's admiration intoxicating. He enjoyed the power he had over her, and soon their secret affair began. Lauretta, blinded by her desire for wealth and status, failed to see the danger she was walking into. She thought she was securing a better life for herself, but in reality, she was stepping into a nightmare. Lauretta's affair with Israel quickly escalated. She became pregnant, and the news spread like wildfire. Israel's mother was overjoyed, declaring, "This is a sign from the gods. A woman who carries my son's child must be his wife." Without hesitation, she cancelled the engagement with Mirabel and demanded that Israel marry Lauretta instead. Mirabel felt her heart break into pieces. She tried to warn Lauretta to tell her that Israel may not be the man he pretended to be. "Listen to me," she begged. "He is not as gentle as he seems. I have seen a side of him that you do not know." But Lauretta refused to listen. "You are just jealous," she snapped. "You had your chance and you wasted it. Now he is mine." Their parents sided with Lauretta, eager to secure their family's future with Israel's wealth. "You should be happy for your sister," their mother scolded Mirabel. "Lauretta will bring honor to this family." Israel's family paid a huge bride price, and within weeks a grand wedding was held. Drums were beaten, wine was poured, and the city celebrated. But as Lauretta danced in her fine clothes and gold jewelry, she did not know that she was dancing into a prison. Her nightmare was about to begin. After the grand wedding, Lauretta initially lived a life of luxury, enjoying the wealth and status that came with being Israel's wife. She revelled in the opulence, forgetting about her parents and the modest life she had left behind. When her parents called, she would dismiss them, saying, "The rich and the poor have nothing in common. I don't want any relatives or family members in my home." Her parents were hurt, but they held their tongues, hoping she would eventually come to her senses. For the first few months, Lauretta was treated like a queen. Israel showered her with gifts, took her to lavish parties and made her feel like the most important woman in the world. But soon, things began to change. Israel started complaining about little things. He criticized her for eating too much, insulting her by saying she had gained weight since they met. He would mock her, saying she could barely eat when he first knew her, and now she was eating like a pig. If Lauretta tried to talk back, he would slap her, silencing her with violence. He took her phone, cutting her off from the outside world, and she could do nothing but obey. Despite being married, their relationship became like a constant battle between a cat and a rat, tense, volatile, and exhausting. One night, the tension reached its peak. Israel, in a fit of rage, chased Lauretta around their luxurious home, shouting insults and threats. Lauretta, terrified, screamed, "Mummy, ooh, Mummy, help me!" She managed to escape, running barefoot through the streets until she reached her parents' house. Her mother, still angry at Lauretta for abandoning them, refused to comfort her. "You left us for your rich husband," her mother scolded. "Now you come back crying. Go and fix your marriage." Her father, equally frustrated, chased her back to Israel's house, insisting she return to her husband. "You made your bed, now lie in it," he said sternly. Lauretta begged and pleaded, but her parents were unmoved. When Israel arrived at their doorstep demanding, "Where is my wife?" her father handed her over without hesitation. Lauretta, tears streaming down her face, was forced to return to the nightmare she had escaped. Back in Israel's home, the abuse only worsened. Lauretta, now isolated and broken, had no one to turn to. She realized too late that the wealth and status she had envied and chased after had come at a terrible cost. As the days turned into weeks, Lauretta's suffering deepened. She was trapped in a marriage that felt more like a prison, with Israel's abuse growing worse by the day. The only solace she found was in the life growing inside her, her unborn child. She clung to the hope that one day she would find a way to escape and give her child a better life. But for now, she was stuck, enduring the pain and humiliation. One evening, after another brutal argument with Israel, Lauretta retreated to her room, tears streaming down her face. She rummaged through her bag, searching for something, anything to comfort her. That's when she found it. Her old Bible, dusty and forgotten, tucked away in the corner of her bag. She hadn't opened it in years, having abandoned her faith in pursuit of wealth and status, but now, in her darkest hour, she felt drawn to it. She opened the Bible, her fingers trembling as she flipped through the pages. She didn't know what she was looking for, but her eyes landed on a scripture that seemed to leap off the page. It was Proverbs 26:04. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, or he will be wise in his own eyes. The words struck her like a lightning bolt. For the first time in months, she felt a glimmer of clarity. The scripture spoke of handling a fool with wisdom, of not stooping to their level, but also not allowing them to believe they are right. Lauretta realized that she had been trying to fight Israel on his terms, arguing, pleading, and reacting to his abuse. But now she understood that she needed a different approach. She needed to be wise, to handle him with sense and to find a way to protect herself and her unborn child. Lauretta began to read her Bible daily, finding strength and guidance in its pages. She started to pray, asking for wisdom and courage to navigate her situation. She stopped reacting to Israel's insults and instead remained calm, refusing to engage in his toxic games. When he criticized her, she would quietly nod and walk away. When he tried to provoke her, she would respond with silence, refusing to give him the satisfaction of seeing her break. Israel, confused by her newfound composure, began to escalate his abuse, but Lauretta held firm. She knew she couldn't change him, but she could change how she responded. She started to secretly plan her escape, saving small amounts of money whenever she could and reaching out to trusted friends for help. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to break free from the cycle of abuse. Lauretta didn't leave. Instead, she made a conscious decision to try to fix her marriage, not because she believed Israel deserved her efforts, but because she wanted to create a safer environment for herself and her unborn child. She knew leaving wasn't an immediate option, especially with her parents unwilling to support her and Israel's controlling nature. So, she resolved to find a way to navigate the toxicity while protecting her peace and dignity. She began by reflecting on the scripture she had found. Proverbs 26:04-5. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, or he will be wise in his own eyes. This passage became her guide. Lauretta realized that Israel's toxic behavior stemmed from his need to feel superior, to assert his dominance and to control her. She understood that reacting to his insults or trying to reason with him only fueled his anger. Instead, she needed to handle him with wisdom, to disarm him without provoking further conflict. Lauretta started by observing Israel's patterns. She noticed that his complaints often came from a place of insecurity. He wanted to feel like the man, the one in control, the one who called the shots. So she decided to give him that illusion, not out of submission, but as a strategic move to reduce his aggression. She began to anticipate his needs and address them before he could complain. If he criticized her for eating too much, she would eat smaller portions in his presence and save her meals for when he wasn't around. If he insulted her appearance, she would quietly nod and say, "You're right, I'll do better," even though his words cut deep. She also stopped arguing with him. When he raised his voice or made unreasonable demands, she would remain calm and respond with simple, neutral statements like, "I understand," or "I'll take care of it." This approach disarmed him. Without her reactions to feed his anger, Israel's outbursts became less frequent and less intense. Lauretta also focused on creating small moments of peace for herself. She started waking up earlier than Israel to have quiet time with her Bible and prayers. This became her sanctuary, a time to recharge and find strength for the day ahead. She also began journaling, writing down her thoughts and feelings as a way to process her emotions without confronting Israel directly. She reached out to a trusted friend, someone who didn't judge her but offered a listening ear. This friend became her confidant, someone she could vent to when the weight of her situation felt unbearable. Though she couldn't leave yet, having someone who understood her struggles gave her a sense of hope and connection. At first, Israel was suspicious of Lauretta's calm demeanor. He was used to her fighting back or breaking down in tears, and her newfound composure unsettled him. He tried to provoke her, picking fights over trivial matters, but Lauretta refused to engage. Instead, she would quietly excuse herself or redirect the conversation. Over time, Israel's attempts to control her through anger lost their power. Without her reactions, he began to feel less in control, and his toxic behavior started to wane. There were still moments when his anger fled, especially when he felt challenged or insecure, but Lauretta had learnt to navigate these moments with caution. She would avoid direct confrontation, instead using subtle tactics to diffuse his temper. For example, if he started complaining about her spending, she would calmly show him the receipts and explain how she had saved money. If he insulted her, she would respond with a quiet, "I'll work on that," even though she knew his words were unjust. Slowly, Lauretta began to notice small changes. Israel's outbursts became less frequent, and he started to treat her with a bit more respect. He still had his moments of toxicity, but Lauretta's strategic approach had created a calmer environment. She knew her marriage was far from perfect, but she had found a way to protect herself and her unborn child while working toward a better future. After months of tension and turmoil, Israel finally reached a breaking point. One evening, after a particularly heated argument, he looked at Lauretta and saw the pain in her eyes, the pain he had caused. For the first time, he truly reflected on his actions and realized how far he had strayed from the man he once aspired to be. Overwhelmed with guilt, he approached Lauretta, his voice trembling as he spoke. "Lauretta," he began, "I've been wrong. I've treated you terribly, and I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I'm asking for it anyway. I made vows to love and cherish you, and I've broken them. I let my insecurities and need for control turn me into someone I don't even recognize. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Lauretta, though cautious, listened quietly as Israel continued. "I want to do better. I want to be the man you deserve, the man I promised to be on our wedding day. I vow to love you, to respect you, and to treat you with the kindness and care you've always deserved. Please, give me a chance to make things right." Lauretta's heart softened, but she remained guarded. She had learned the hard way that words alone were not enough. "Israel," she said, "I want to believe you, but actions speak louder than words. If you truly mean this, show me. Prove to me that you can change." Israel nodded, tears in his eyes. "I will. I'll do whatever it takes." The lesson from the story. This story teaches us valuable lessons about envy, wisdom, and the importance of seeing beyond appearances. Let's reflect on the key takeaways. Mirabel's patience, wisdom, and ability to see beyond the glitter of wealth and status serve as a reminder that true happiness comes from within. She didn't rush into decisions even when pressured, and she trusted her instincts. Her calm and thoughtful nature allowed her to avoid the pitfalls that come with chasing illusions. The lesson here is to always trust your intuition, value character over material wealth, and never let others pressure you into decisions that don't align with your values. Lauretta's envy led her down a painful path, but her story shows that it's never too late to change. She learned to navigate her toxic marriage with wisdom and resilience, proving that even in difficult situations, we can find ways to protect ourselves and grow. Her journey teaches us to reflect on our desires, recognize the dangers of envy, and understand that not everything that glitters is worth pursuing. However, it also reminds us that even flawed situations can be managed with patience and strategy. Israel's apology and vow to change highlight the power of humility and accountability. His willingness to admit his mistakes and seek forgiveness shows that people can change when confronted with the consequences of their actions. It's a reminder that true strength lies in owning up to our flaws and making a genuine effort to do better. The story reminds us that life is not about chasing glittering illusions, but about finding true value in relationships, self-respect, and inner peace. Wealth and status may seem appealing, but they mean little without love, respect, and integrity. If you enjoyed this story and its lessons, don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring and moral stories. Share this with someone who needs a reminder that not everything that glitters is gold, and that true happiness comes from within. All love from Storyville. Stay tuned for more tales that touch the heart and inspire the soul.